welcome back everyone to the Blender Creator course, Stylized 3D Models, and now we're at the exciting part. So how exactly do we use this lattice? Well, we've got the lattice applied to the roof now. We've got all of the little edge loops that we want in the lattice. So now what we can do is we can actually click on the lattice. I recommend pressing 3 on the numpad so you've actually got a good view of it. Press tab and then you'll actually be able to go into the lattice. And now what you can do is you can actually come in and just select whichever ones you want, like so. You can also come in and press Control and select and deselect the ones that you want. Now what you'll notice is, as I come in, I'm going to hold the Shift button down, select all of these, like so. You'll see that it goes actually all the way through, and that is exactly what we want. And we want that because now, if I press Shift Spacebar, bring in the Move tool, I can actually start to bring this down, as you can see. Now you can see that I don't actually want to bring this too much down, and I don't want to bring all of this down to start with. I want to work a little bit of a time working smarter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select all of these, just these ones, and then what I'm going to do now is I'm going to bring this down a little bit like so, just a tiny bit at a time, and then I'm going to come in, I'm going to select all these, and I'm going to bring this up a little bit, just a tiny bit like so. Then I'm going to select the outside of them, I'm going to bring this up just a little bit like so, and then I'm going to come in, grab all of these and bring them up just a little bit like so, and finally then I can now come down and I can grab all of these and I can bring them down holding the Shift button as well, like so. And now we actually have, to hide the lattice out of the way, a really nice bended roof. Now if we come in and we put on our render, we can see now it's fairly obvious that that roof is bent, and it really adds a little bit to the appeal of that roof. Now the thing is, why I did this is because you might want to go in and really bend this roof, and if you want to do that, you need to make sure that you've got all of these bottom parts selected as well so that everything moves together. I don't want to go too crazy with this, but you can see the power of lattices. Alright, so let's come in now, come to our roof, apply our lattice with Control A, press Alt H to bring your lattice back, and just delete it out of the way. You're not going to need it anymore. Just make sure you apply it first. The other thing is that I should have said is, on the lattice you had a strength there. If you're not quite happy with how much you're moving it, just turn that down and then you'll be able to use it a little bit more effectively. Okay, so now we've got this. Now I think at this point that it might be time to start work on the bottom part, so on this part of our other side. And basically this part now, we've near enough got everything. The only thing we're missing is a door, but pretty much everything else we've got in here, we can actually start working on this. Okay, so let's actually come in and start actually, I'm just hiding them away on my other screen so I can actually see what I'm going to be doing. So I'm just going to hide a few of these blocks away, and now I can actually start. So let's actually think about, first of all, putting in some more of these blocks. So what I'm going to do, I think I'm going to have one block maybe here, and then the second block right at the corner. So let's do that first. So again, wooden supports. Let's bring in the ones that say angled. So I'm going to bring in this one. Let's have a look, making sure that's different from that one. And then I'll bring in this one. Let's put it up there. Let's pull it forward. And just making sure they're all different, which they are. Okay, so now let's put this in place. So I'm going to put this into place there. I'm going to put this over and into place here. And then remembering, and I can now bring in my wooden planks and things like that, and I can bring them over to here. So I'm just wondering how big I actually want I think this support here is going to be realistically a good support for this part, and I think I can actually build from this to create some kind of archway along here. So I'm going to hide this part of the way as well, and then I've got this actually what I've got to work with. So what I'm going to do is, I think first of all we'll bring in one plank of wood. So let's go to our wooden blocks. Let's come to 2 meter ones. So these 2 meter ones, let's bring this in, spin it around. So RZ 90. Let's pull it up into place then. So let's get this into place like so. So around the same height as this one. And I also want to make sure that this block then is actually underneath. So underneath, so it looks like support like so. And then what I'll do is I'll bring in another one. So I'll grab this, Shift D, and then what I'll do is I'll spin that one round. So R, Y, 180, let's spin it round. Let's also spin it round RZ, 180, spin it round that way as well. And then just drop it down because I want it to come along here so that this is a bit better supported, because this is going to be some planks of wood which are like these ones here. I might actually be able to take these and use these and put these in place. Let's have a look. So Shift D, let's bring it over, and then RZ minus 90. Let's go over the top then and see if I can actually use those to put those in place there. And I think nearly we can. It's a little bit out. I need a little bit more. It's actually a shame because I'm looking. It needs to really come up to here. I could just make them a little bit bigger. Let's have a look how, if I make them a little bit bigger, are they going to fit in nicely? You know what? I actually think they are. I'm going to pull these down, put them into place, delete this out of the way. I'm not going to need that anymore. And pull them down into place like so. And actually, I think that's going to be enough. All right. So yeah, let's keep it like that. Okay. So the next thing that I want to do is this is a little bit more complex, this wall. Because we have a lot of parts to actually deal with here. So this wall here will go across, and then we're going to have a door. We didn't put our door in, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create a little bit more of a grey box to put in our steps, because we didn't actually put in, if I press Alt-H, we didn't actually put in our steps. What we've put in here is a roof. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hide that out of the way. I'm going to come in, grab this part here, press Shift S, cursor to selected. So Shift S, cursor to selected. Shift A, so Shift A, bring in a cube. So let's bring in a cube. Let's press the S button and let's put the cube where I want it. So it pretty much wants to be in the center of these two here. I think, yeah, in the center of there. So I'm going to put it down to here. I'm going to press Control 3 to go to my back view. And I can see here, I do have a problem in that all of these are getting in the way. So I'm just going to move these over here, and now when I press Control 3, now I can actually see what I'm doing. So pretty much this is where the middle is, as you can see. So if I put this a bit more over this way, I think, tiny bit, there we go. All right, let's bring our little guy over because we are going to need him for this. And what I want to do now is I want to create some steps. Now basically when you're creating steps, the easiest way to imagine it is if you put your guy down to the floor, is that the shin is where the next step's going to be. So you don't want the steps too steep, in other words. So if I've got my step here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull it down now. So I'm going to pull this top face down to be round about there. Then what I'm going to do is now I need to look at how steep or how rigid these steps are going to be. So RZ90, let's put him in our step, so on the top step. And now we know that roughly we should be able to get a foot length on the step. So we can see here roughly the next step is going to be here. And we basically want 3 steps. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this out all the way over to here, because how far, or how close to the edge of here do I want my steps to come? And I think actually I don't want them actually moving too much. So I'm going to pull it just a little bit over here. Then I'm going to grab my guy, pull him on top. And then what I'm going to do now is I just want to make sure they stood on it, like so. I'm going to make these steps a little bit wider then. So S and Y, make them a little bit wider, like so. And I think those actually are going to look like some nice steps. And then what I'm going to do is in fact, we'll bring this back first. So what I'll do is I'll put on X-ray, press tab, and then I'll just pull this back to the point where the steps, where the wall is. And then what I'm going to do now is I'm going to divide this up. So 2, left click, right click, and hopefully our guy, if we grab our guy, should still stay on there. If I click this this on, let's go into wireframe. Yeah, you can still stay on there, as you can see. All right, let's go into object mode. Let's turn off X-ray. Let's come in now. And what we'll do now is we'll pull our steps up a little bit. So what we're trying to do is we don't really need to have them exactly. And that's the good thing about doing these steps, is because it means that I don't need to measure this and then bring this in, because we can actually measure the sides of this. You're coming on, if you come in over here, let me just find where the measurement tool is. I think it is, let's have a look, grid. Here it is. So edge length. When you turn that on, you can see now 0.829. So I then can grab both of these, press the E button and bring it up 0.829, and we can have it exactly the same. As you can see, I'm bringing that down. So round about there, as you can see, is about the right step length, because that's 0.83, which is a millimeter or something. It makes no difference. Now we can come into the next one and we can press E, pull it up, and then 0.831 should be absolutely fine. So now you can see we've got some steps and they're all pretty evenly done. Now the other thing about this part is as well, is I actually want to make a boolean. In other words, I want the actual door in this to go back a little bit further than the outside of the wall, just to add a little bit to it. We could have put like an alleyway going through here or something, you know, that also would have been, or round the back or something. So it's entirely up to you how you're going to do, you know, how you're going to set out your own building when you actually come to your own projects. But I think actually putting this bit a little bit further back will look really, really cool. All right, so now we've done that. What we're going to do then on the next lesson is I'm going to save out my work, and on the next one what we'll do is we'll start just building this out a little bit more, because then it'll be easier to actually visualize where the roof and all of that stuff is going to go. All right, everyone, so I hope you enjoyed that. See you in the next one. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.